I never imagined that a simple backyard barbecue would turn my entire world upside down. What started as a cherished tradition, rooted in years of friendship, suddenly became the catalyst for a revelation I never saw coming. Our gatherings had always been sacred. A tradition that began when we were young, carefree, and navigating the milestones of life together. Graduations, marriages, parenthood, and careers. No matter how busy life became, we held on to these moments, making time for each other as the years passed. Now, as adults with families of our own, the bond between us remained unshaken. At least, that's what I believed. That Saturday evening was no different. Laughter filled the air, the rich scent of grilled meat wafted through the garden, and the distant echoes of children playing blended seamlessly into the warmth of the night. But as I stood there, drink in hand, something felt off. Maybe it was the way my wife, Gina, stole glances at John when she thought no one was looking. Or perhaps it was the way his gaze lingered on her just a little too long. At the time, I brushed it aside. John had suffered a devastating loss. His wife, Marcy, had passed away just a year ago, leaving him a hollowed-out version of the man we once knew. We had all rallied around him, trying to lift him from the depths of his grief, encouraging him to keep moving forward. I never imagined that moving forward in his mind meant setting his sights on my wife. The next morning started like any other. Sundays were our sacred routine. Sleeping in, sharing a warm shower, then going our separate ways for a few hours. Gina would curl up with a book or meet her friends for coffee, while I found solace in my garage, tinkering with cars. But just as I was about to step outside, her voice stopped me. "Honey, we need to talk." There was something in her tone, gentle, hesitant. I turned, an uneasy feeling creeping into my chest. We sat at the dining table, a heavy silence settling between us. Gina stared into her coffee, stirring it absently, refusing to meet my gaze. "John told me something last night," she finally said. I nodded, waiting. "What is it?" She inhaled deeply, as if steadying herself. "He wants to start dating again." Relief flooded through me. That's great. He deserves to be happy. But Gina bit her lip, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped her mug. "There's more," she whispered. "He's been interested in someone for a long time." A slow nod. "Do we know her?" That was when she finally lifted her eyes to meet mine. And in that instant, I knew. "It's me," she whispered. The words hung in the air like a suffocating fog. For a moment, I laughed, thinking, hoping, this was some cruel joke. John had been our friend for years, practically family. How could this be real? But Gina didn't laugh. Her expression remained solemn, her lips pressed into a thin, unsteady line. The truth hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about John's feelings. This was about hers too. My heart pounded against my ribs. "You're telling me you have feelings for him?" Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded. "I love John." The world tilted beneath me. My own wife, my partner, my best friend, was sitting across from me, confessing her love for another man. A man who was supposed to be my brother in arms. "But I love you too, Henry," she rushed to say, desperation creeping into her voice. "I don't want a divorce. I still want to be with you." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Then what the hell is this, Gina?" She reached for my hand, but I recoiled. "Please," she pleaded. "There's something I've never told you." My fists clenched as an ominous weight pressed against my chest. Whatever she was about to say, I knew that it would change everything. "You know that everyone in our friend group met in college, except for you, right?" she began carefully. I nodded. Gina took a shaky breath. "John and I used to love each other. We were planning to get married." The air was suddenly too thick to breathe. My stomach twisted into knots. "But one night, we drank too much," she continued, her voice barely audible. "John and Marcy, they slept together." My grip tightened on the chair's armrest. "They said it was a mistake," she added quickly, as if that would soften the blow. I was devastated. But I forgave him. And then, a few months later, Marcy found out she was pregnant. A hollow silence stretched between us. "John did the right thing," Gina whispered, tears slipping down her cheeks. He married Marcy. And I tried to move on. I tried to forget the past. But the past hadn't forgotten her. And now, here it was, standing in my kitchen, shattering everything I thought I knew about my wife, my best friend, and the life we had built together. From the moment I met Gina, I felt as if I had been struck by lightning. She was everything to me, the woman I built my life around, the person I trusted above all else. And yet, for 20 years, I had been living in blissful ignorance, completely unaware that my wife had once shared an entirely different life with one of my closest friends. If Marcy had never died, would I have ever known? The thought sent a bitter laugh spilling from my lips. I turned to Gina, my voice hollow. So, if Marcy hadn't passed away, you would have kept this secret from me forever. Gina lowered her gaze, staring at the wooden surface of our dining table as if searching for an answer. We thought that if you knew, it would ruin your friendship with John. I let out a slow, sharp breath, shaking my head in disbelief. Wow! Congratulations! It's really ruined now. Tears welled in her eyes, spilling down her cheeks, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. She inhaled shakily and whispered, I told you because I need to ask you something. A strange sensation crawled up my spine. I squinted at her. Ask me what? Gina hesitated, her fingers tightening around the coffee cup she had been gripping since the beginning of this conversation. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she spoke the words that shattered what little remained of my composure. How would you feel if I wanted to be with both of you? The air in the room turned ice cold. A sharp ringing filled my ears as my pulse pounded violently. I shot to my feet, the chair behind me crashing to the floor. What? My voice was hoarse, almost unrecognizable. A sickening wave of fear clawed at my chest, suffocating me. I could not believe the words that had just left her lips. Gina, my wife, the woman I had spent years loving, trusting, sharing my life with, was now standing in front of me, asking me if she could have both her husband and her former lover. Everything was crumbling. Friendship. Marriage. Trust. It had all been shattered by a truth I never saw coming. Gina sat there, her hands trembling, her eyes red and swollen from crying. She looked at me with an expression that begged for understanding, for acceptance. As if she truly believed there was a way to salvage this, to keep us both. Henry, can you understand me? Her voice cracked, fragile and desperate. I shook my head, everything inside me turning hazy. You want to be with both of us? I repeated, my voice thick with disbelief. You think I can accept that? A fresh wave of pain crashed over me. For years, I had lived with a woman I thought I knew. A woman I trusted with my entire soul. And now, I was realizing there were pieces of her I had never even seen. Gina rose slowly from her chair and took a hesitant step toward me. I can't lose both of you, Henry, she murmured. I can't let go of our marriage, but I also can't deny what I feel for John. I recoiled, stepping back as if she had physically struck me. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. Do you really think I can live like this? Do you really think I could share my wife with my best friend? My voice cracked with anger and heartbreak. She fell silent, her expression crumbling. Disappointment flickered across her face, but I didn't care. She turned back to the table, her grip tightening around the coffee cup as if it was the only thing grounding her. The weight of the moment hung between us, suffocating, inescapable. I don't know what to do, I admitted, my voice barely audible. I don't know how to fix this. Gina let out a shuddering breath, her hands trembling. I didn't want to destroy everything, she whispered. But I couldn't keep living in lies. You deserved to know the truth. A cold, empty laugh escaped me. And now that I know, what do you expect me to do? She didn't answer. She just stood there, her face a portrait of sorrow and regret. The silence was unbearable. The house, the home we had built together, felt foreign, suffocating, unrecognizable. The walls that once held love and laughter were now filled with shadows of deception. I couldn't take it. Without another word, I turned and walked out the door. The night air was sharp against my skin as I stepped into the garage, climbed into my car, and started the engine. I had no destination in mind, only the desperate need to escape. Driving through the empty streets, I let my mind go blank. The lights of the city blurred past, flickering like ghosts of the life I thought I had. Every turn of the wheel felt like running from the truth, yet no matter how fast I drove, it was always right there. How had it come to this? How had I spent 2 decades living in a love that had never truly belonged to me? By the time I returned home, exhaustion weighed heavy in my bones. I walked into the bedroom, finding Gina sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting. Her eyes flickered with hope, but I couldn't meet them. We were strangers now. 2 people who had once been everything to each other but had become unrecognizable in the span of a single night. "Gina," I began, my voice raw, "you say you love me. But you also love John. And that cannot exist. You cannot have both." She bowed her head, silent tears slipping down her cheeks. "Can't you forgive me?" she whispered. I swallowed hard, my throat aching. The answer wasn't easy. I loved Gina. But was that love strong enough to survive this betrayal? And John, my best friend, my brother in everything but blood, could I ever look at him the same way again? I took a deep breath, my chest hollow. "We need time," I finally said. "Time to think. To figure out what we want and what we can live with." Because deep down, we both knew the truth. There was no going back. No matter how much we wanted to pretend otherwise, everything had changed. And nothing would ever be the same again.